to Thursday night's ridiculous speculation with newly joined Robbie.
Yeah.
Robbie was almost late, but he even made it on time. Not a peep out of Raj to this point, so we'll see if he shows up. But welcome to Ridiculous Speculation. We've got a lot to get through tonight. First of all,
yeah. Hey, wait. It's reckless speculation.
I like ridiculous today. I feel like it. Reckless speculation. Hey, I'm speculating. I got a good DFS lineup going. But before we get started, Tuesday night, we're just here tonight. We got like a half of a show formatted, half of it we're just going to shoot the crap. But let's get started with something not on there. Have y'all saw some of the games going on? I thought Washington Philly would be a blowout, but it looks like it's the most competitive. I mean, it was 10-10 at halftime. I think the Eagles just scored, so that's a good football game, Robbie.
Yeah, I just literally got back from dinner, and so I haven't watched any of it. By the way, the Korean Steakhouse on Cherokee Boulevard, fantastic.
We're giving away props.
Both games seem to be good. Seattle and the Rams, and Washington and Philly. Washington doesn't really have a quarterback, so I'm surprised it's that close. But yeah, I mean, both games are good thus far.
Well, it's that close because Washington's had 2 turnovers and turned them into points. They have got their 10 points out of turnovers from a defensive stance. So that's where that came from there. It's been entertaining. Like, I'm glad that I was busy with work and didn't have time to bet on some of these games tonight like I wanted to, because I'd probably be losing some money right now. But it's entertaining. I have not got to see the Rams Seahawks game yet. It's tied 10-10
because it's not available locally.
Right.
We only got one game tonight, and we got the Philly Redskins game, but football team game. About did it again. Ridiculous speculation. Redskins. I've been drinking too much tonight. I'm all torn up.
You chocolate wasted.
Well, the one question I got for both of you: what has happened to the Rams offense? 10 points in 3 quarters tonight. It has not been the same football team.
Yeah, looks like they're getting out coached defensively right now. Just from what I've read so far on the stats and the scoreboard. Like I said, I can't see the game, but what I've read stat wise, it looks like McVay is kind of getting matched up right now.
This is not the juggernaut we thought it was in week 8, Robbie, where we had I had the Rams as the Super Bowl favorites.
It's very possible that McVay and the Rams are very similar to Ron Rivera and the Cam Newton Panthers. They got hot. They made it that year. Like, hey, just because you make a Super Bowl does not make you great, right? Like, you can get hot. And so since then, they've been kind of mediocre. You got Staff. You think it's Jared Goff. Now you got Staff in there. Let's just not everyone's a genius, right? And so let's don't make everyone a genius right now. Let's give McVay. I'm not saying you fire the guy, but let's just not put him up there just yet.
Well, they've got a lot invested in this team right now. I don't think they hold a first 3-round draft pick for a couple of years. Also, before we get into the night, the Bucks are reeling too. The NFC, to me, is wide open because the Bucks get shut out. Backfield's in a mess now. All of a sudden, they signed Le'Veon Bell off the street. Godwin's gone for the year. The Bucks, the Rams. Could this be a year we see somebody we don't expect get hot, like Robbie said in the NFC? Shane, we'll let you go first.
Who knows, man? I mean, this has been a crazy NFL year. I mean, the games have been completely lopsided at times where you expect a fireworks show, a shootout, and it's a 17-10 game, or what was it, 9-0 the other night for the Bucks game?
Yeah.
I mean, that first time Brady's been shut out in 15 years.
My daughter, who's in junior high school, was 3 years from being born the last time Tom Brady was shut out.
Yeah. So
think about that.
It's ridiculous. But, again, you look at the injuries, you look at, teams dealing with COVID, which I know we're going to get to. Who knows? It's a toss-up right now, and it's the NFL. So any given day, I mean, you can have a team come in here and dominate that shouldn't be dominating. You take into game planning and scheme and, matchups. Matchups are a big deal. So, yeah, I mean, would it surprise me? Not at all.
Well, that's an excellent lead to our first thing we're going to talk about. This weekend, Robbie, fantasy football, DFS, everything I normally do in my weekend, especially DFS, it was hard to even figure out a lineup. Early in the year, when we were talking about COVID, you were talking about the Antonio Browns and the Aaron Rodgers and not getting vaccinated. It seemed like a minor story. But over the last 2 weeks, holidays, football teams exposed, COVID has reared its head in the NFL again. And it's making chaos right now of this playoff run. Robbie, we'll kick off there.
Yeah, so this is a tough topic to discuss because, okay, you can't separate what's going on in the NFL right now without dealing with COVID, right? But this is what the NFL wanted. They wanted this 17th game. They want the 18th game eventually. Well, what you're seeing, though, is it's extremely hard to play 17 NFL football games without COVID. People are getting hurt left and right. And so it's going to affect the product on the field. It doesn't affect the TV, but it affects the product. You throw COVID in, and now it's like, and y'all know where I stand on all this, and I'm for safety and all that. But if you're looking at if you're the NFL and you're getting to the playoffs, you got to start to say, hey, if you're vaccinated, you're not getting tested anymore. And we're putting you out there because you can't have the integrity of the season destroyed by a positive test of an asymptomatic player. But it goes against what I think. It's just it's all a mess. I've always said Roger Goodell is the most overpaid person in the world, really. But he's got a problem on his hands right now, and he's got to make some tough calls.
It's very true. Very good points, and kind of stole the thunder of the questions I had planned out, but you just laid out this segment perfectly. Jane, it's just not COVID. It's a situation we've never dealt with the 17 games. And teams playing deeper in the year. I look, let's just take a team, for example, the Giants, playing without their starting quarterback, playing with a banged up Barkley, a rotation of wide receivers that I don't even know who are at times. Went off the season, signed Kenny Golladay, made some moves. Let's look at my Falcons. Expected to have Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts be a superstar combo. Not there. Look at the Titans. Derrick Henry, not there. Then you throw in the factor of Dalvin Cook has been in and out. This week we saw Lamar Jackson not play. The Bucks lose 2 valuable members of their teams. Have we pushed the level? Have we pushed it to the limits with NFL football now?
No, and I kind of want to touch on Robbie's point 1 second before I come to that question. So I actually heard today that the NFL is going to start target testing, which means I don't know when this is going to happen. I didn't get the clarification on that, but they're going to start target testing as far as if you report your own symptoms or if you know, visual symptoms of some sort because of what is happening here. Because that's the stats that I want to know of all the positive cases that are going on in the NFL. How many are asymptomatic? You know, what is the deal with that? Because we can only do this for so long. I mean, we've got the vaccine, we've got the boosters. I mean, this is essentially going to become the flu. It's going to be a seasonal variant or, you know, some sort. And you can either choose to protect yourself or not, or, you know, whatever you deem fit. But if you're in the NFL, like, we can't, like, if someone tests positive for the flu, you know, has a runny nose, doesn't mean they can't go out there and play football or, you know, like we can't live this way forever. So
to your point, we said in the group text the other day, I thought it was great. How many tests can you give? Are we taking 20 tests in a day trying to get 2 negative ones back in a row?
Well, oh, go ahead, Brandon.
Sorry. I was just going to say, yeah, I mean, how many tests can you take, you know, and then the PCR tests, false positives or, you know, false negatives, whatever, coming with that. And then I don't know. I'm at a loss with it right now.
Well, so this isn't my thought. I'm just regurgitating someone else's thought that knows a lot more about it than I know. But there's 3 lanes of travel here, right? You're vaccinated and you're gonna get it and not really feel the effects that much. You get it and your body beats it, or you die. I mean, those are the 3 lanes of travel, and the healthiest people on earth are roughly speaking, professional athletes. Like, if somebody's gonna get it and beat it, my money's on those people.
Has it not got to the point where we've all been exposed? I mean, I'm not sure that I couldn't go take a test tomorrow and test positive.
Well, if I'm in any of those professional leagues, I say, hey, it's non-negotiable. We're a private company. You're getting it. You're getting you're getting 3 shots, and then we're going out and playing, and that's it. If you want to forfeit your money, go play somewhere else. But we're not stopping the games. We got the shots. We got you as safe as scientifically possible, and we're going forward.
And at the same time, before we leave this subject, and I'm going to breach off to basketball, did the Knicks just not activate Kyrie Irving to be a part-time basketball player? I mean, to me, I'm not sure if Kyrie Irving should even be playing. And I mean, is this the same problem if you don't get vaccinated? Do you?
So this to me is, I don't want to like get political here with this, but you know, at first they take a stance where it's about the vaccine. It's about, you know, you can't play. We don't want you playing as a part-time player, whatever. And both sides, they're on separate sides of the fence, whatever. So now, you know, they're first in their division. They've got a shot. They're starting to get all these players with COVID, and they need some bodies on the floor. Oh, Kyrie's still on the team. Let's just make him a part-time player. I mean, come on. You can't have it both ways. You gotta stand strong on your stance, whatever it may be. But you can't just, when it's convenient, bring it back to help you win a championship to make money. Like, just no.
Oh yeah, it's completely self-serving. It's like, I'm trying to be high and mighty, but oh no, I need you now. Come back.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like, if what is it? If you stand for everything, you stand for nothing, or something like that. But that's basically what the Nets are doing. Like, yeah, what a joke! Like, that situation. Like, come on. I don't know.
So one other breaking story, it looks like we've got a shift to that Rams backfield. And watching the feed come over, kind of shocked by this. Sony Michel is dominating the carries over DeVry Henderson. Not really, didn't see that one coming. I thought at best it'd be a 50-50 split. You guys
Well,
are still in your fantasy league. Go pick up Sony Michel.
No, he's been injured. Henderson's been injured. I've got him in another league. He's had that thigh bruise or quad strain or whatever is going on. So
while my experiment on the first go around was a disaster, but this is why you don't draft running backs. I'm gonna zone it in to more focus on different receivers from different teams. Wait till next year.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Who do we like today? Of course, the Rams still playing. The Eagles still playing. But considering the who's got healthy bodies, who's kind of dealing with their COVID problems. Last week we gave Super Bowl playoffs picks. Has that changed over the last week? I'm going to tell you mine has changed. I think the Bucks suffered significant enough injuries. Now, I'm not going to panic. Still Tom Brady. But that's a lot of firepower they lost. It comes down to now with the Bucks. Can Antonio Brown be a dependable piece of that offense to me? If you're going to say yes, then I still think the Bucks are probably the favorite in the NFC. AFC, I still think we have to get a definitive answer about, is Derrick Henry playing? Is Derrick Henry not coming back for the playoffs? Where do we stand with Derrick Henry? James, we'll start with you.
I think he's coming back. That's kind of the underground words that I've heard and insinuations that I've heard on Titans Talk, and I think he'll be there. We're getting A.J. Brown back this week. Obviously, Julio hurt again, another hamstring injury. Like I don't think Julio will be back. Maybe if we make it past the first round of the playoffs.
That's the problem with Julio. He's still a great Julio Jones, when healthy, is still very good at the game of football.
Absolutely.
He can't stay healthy at this point.
He's got too much wear and tear on it, and he hasn't rested long enough for a long enough period. I mean, he almost needed to take an entire season off and rest and get fully healthy before, trying to attempt to play professional football. I mean, I get it's, a lot of short breaks in between plays, but man, I mean, that 0 to 60 for 12 seconds is pretty rough on a body.
A lot of miles, a lot of play. We don't think about how good the Falcons were for about that 5-year stretch and make it to 2 NFC title games, 1 Super Bowl. Julio played a lot of football from 2014 to 2019. One of those years, the Falcons entered the year as the number 1 seed. A lot of miles on him. But Robbie, all right, Shane, before I cut you off, is your pick still the same or have you changed?
I'm not counting out Tom Brady. It's still, Aaron Rodgers is making another run. This is his last go in Green Bay, in my opinion. I mean, Antonio Brown's coming back. Godwin's out. They're saying Jones will be back. No, who's the running back? Just went out. I just lost. Was it Ronald?
Fournette.
No, Fournette. Yeah, Ronald Jones is there.
Fournette's
right?
my man. He's went
I know.
out.
Fournette went out. He's just a hamstring injury. They're expecting him back for the playoffs. If they can just, maintaining no more injuries from here on out, they're going to get Brown back. Fournette's coming back. It's going to solve a lot of those holes in the offense right there. I don't count out Tom Brady at all. As far as the AFC, good Lord. I mean, it's got to be – if we get Henry back, don't count us out. If Henry doesn't come back, I'm saying it's the Chiefs, man. I mean, we're going to see Chiefs, Bucks.
Yeah.
Kind of where I'm at. Robbie, you go on mute. I don't know if that's a sneeze or
No. I hate to keep bringing this up, but this just seems like what sports are right now. The Bucks get Antonio Brown back, but remember the reason why he was suspended because he faked his vaccination status. He can any you can't rely on him to be there unless during this period he's got his vaccination. If I'm sitting here, I'm looking at the NFC. Aaron Rodgers tested positive for COVID. I think that means a 60-day window of no more testing. I think he's good till the end of the season now. And so you give me the best quarterback in that league, I'll take Green Bay. Same is true in the AFC. Man, I took the Chargers at the beginning of the year, and I want to stick with them. But the Chiefs have won 7 in a row. They're outscoring teams by 89 points. They're rolling, man, and they've got the best. I did see Tyreek Hill though. Did he get hurt today, or did he?
declared? I think he's fine.
Yeah, I think it was a
I think
minor
it was
injury.
the other way. They declared him okay.
Okay, yeah. So the Chiefs, but I'm still liking the Chargers. Man, I wanna say the Titans, but it's looking like Henry's going to have to come back in game shape, and I don't know what that status is. I mean, the Bengals are winning the AFC North. Joe Burrow's a bum, also kind of a good bum. It's a love-hate. It reminds me of Andy Dalton back in the day.
Don't draft him next year.
Yeah. And then, the Patriots lost the Colts. Colts are scary. But if you had to pick one team, I don't know how you don't pick the Chiefs from the AFC.
You know, that you're the first person to bring it up, but I think if I'm picking a team outside of the Chiefs, it's the Colts right now.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to play the Colts. Me and Brendan were texting about that. The Colts are an old school football team.
You guys have a private text message?
No, that was in our group text, our show text.
You just didn't read it.
You just didn't care at the time. I think you were liquored up, just to be honest with you.
That sounds about right.
But they're an old school football team. Very good defense, and maybe the best running back in the NFL, not named Derrick Henry.
Yeah. He's got 49 or 51 more carries than Derrick Henry to this point, and has over 500 something more yards than Derrick Henry and 5 touchdowns more, and is averaging 0.2 or 0.3 more points or per yards a carry. Derrick Henry in week 8 when he went out, or was it 8 or 9? Anyway, whatever week he went out, 219 carries already. I mean, and last year he had 390 something carries. I mean, you keep pounding a guy like that eventually. So there was a statistic that was interesting today that I heard on Titans Talk radio, and it was that players that carry over 370 carries in a season, the next year there's 3 categories. They're either injured, they digress, or they're completely out of the league, gone. And that's kind of a scary stat as much as we use Henry. And I know we need to, and that's kind of how our offense is scheduled or, formed around is him. But you look at what Henry does, he's kind of different because he Shut up, Robbie.
I'm just thinking of Coach Vegetables.
No, I'm trying to make a point here. It's a long-winded point. Sorry. But no, I mean, Henry gets better with time, right? So, I think if anybody can beat that stat, Henry can beat it. So, sorry. There you go.
But nobody.
I agree with your long-winded point.
All right. Let's move on to the next subject. And the next subject so far, before we get their year-end review, is I don't think Roger's ever been this late before. So I'm going to right now, I'm going to declare we're not going to hear from Rod. College bowl games. Have you been watching them? Where you stand with them? And I will tell you, I watched the funnest game the other night. I sat there, I had no rooting interest other than I know Jamie Chadwell is from this area. So I followed his career. Coastal Carolina scores twice late in the game, beats Northern Illinois in a game that I would have never in my world thought I would sit here watching so enthralled. They've been some good games. Couple of huge upsets early on. UAB beats BYU. I almost put BYU on upset alert. What do y'all? I mean, I love bowl games. And Robbie, to quote Robbie Davis, more football is better than less football. How's your more football been, Robbie Davis?
Yeah, so the people that say bowl games are meaningless and, there's too many of them, I want to read you some numbers. So, TV ratings. The Independence Bowl, 3.2 million viewers. The LA Bowl, 2.9 million viewers. The Celebration Bowl, 2.6 million viewers. Tiger Woods and his son, 2.3 million viewers. Kentucky versus North Carolina, Blue Bloods in basketball, 1.8 million viewers. All of those bowl games outrated that college basketball game. On ESPN, and that was on ABC, on network television. On ESPN, 4 NBA games averaged 1.7 million viewers. The Boca Raton Bowl had 1.6 million. The New Mexico Bowl had 1.5 million. I say all of that to run those numbers by. I don't have a clue who any of those bowl participants were, but they're still outrating other professional sports. Like football is so dominant. I'm surprised the NFL doesn't do a consolation bracket like we'll all be playing in next week and just do like, hey, here's the worst teams. Go ahead and play this out too. Football is king in the country. I've been watching, so I've got my bowl pick'ems and all that, but I've been gambling on them, and I'm on the worst gambling streak possibly of my life right now. But believe me when it comes to bet your nuts at the end of the show. I got you a good one.
The Celebration Bowl. Jackson State versus South Carolina State. That was going to be my point. Outdraws Kentucky, North Carolina. Jackson State, South Carolina State. North Carolina, Kentucky. Shane? Does basketball, we love basketball, by the way. We're approaching our 1-year anniversary. Our first show was a basketball selection show, which we'll be redoing again this year. This year with Brandon Shane on it. But, man, that really was mind-opening to me.
It is. And I've also been one of the people on the other side that have not watched a single ball game this year. I haven't. I haven't had any interest, not for the lack of football, but I've been out golfing instead. So I've had an excuse there.
It's because it's been beautiful weather.
It has. It's 70 degrees, and it's hard to pass up. So no, but it's usually this time of year you start talking about it, you get rolling. I didn't do a bowl pick'em, so I'm not as invested in the games. I know I should have. I lost track. Blah, blah, whatever.
I was only 100 text messages to you, but no.
No, it was on the group thread, which is like constantly 150 a day or more.
Whoever
So-
wants to rant today gets that message.
Anyway, so a lot of times during work hours, that thing's on silent, so my phone doesn't vibrate the entire day.
Wait,
Um,
work? Wait, what do you do?
Yeah.
Hey, your whole Christmas card was just a collage of your vacations.
That was all same place, just different outfits.
I think yours was too, Robbie Davis.
Yeah, it was just the one, right?
Because he goes to the same place every week.
I know, it's Florida. Is that Edgewater? That's the balcony. I've been there. No, so I always look forward to, especially after Christmas, the bowl games start really ramping up. You start getting some good matchups.
So let me tell you what I think the storyline to bowl games is every year. And if we figure this out, we can make money. The team that's more excited to be there wins the bowl game. UAB more excited. Utah State more excited than Oregon State. I think in some ways Fresno State over UTEP was the same thing. There's a storyline to these bowl games. If you think you should be somewhere else, your heart's not in it. If you think this is great, then your team's going to play great. I thought no better example than BYU UAB of that. Robbie Davis, number 13 goes down to a directional school. I mean, I don't think BYU loses to UAB unless it's in that circumstance.
UAB, actually, they've got a pretty good program, but yeah, BYU should be better than that. But just on a side note, did y'all follow the I don't know if you guys have YouTube TV or not, but did y'all follow the YouTube and Disney negotiations and that debacle?
No, I was within. I'm going to tell you, I have Dish Network. I was unhooking it this month to go to YouTube TV, and now I'm scared.
Well, so reckless speculation for sure. So I have YouTube TV, and this is sorry taking it off topic, not too long though, just a short little window. But so we got these notices that Disney was going to pull all their stuff from YouTube, and on Friday night they did, and then Hulu was the second largest one that has the Disney platform, and Disney owns Hulu, and so it was like, okay, so all ESPN, so that's the death knell to YouTube TV. Well, then on Sunday, or yesterday, yeah, they said they finally got a deal, and so I'm like, wait, what did Google step in and be like, oh, hey, do you want your shows to come up on search because we need you back? Because it was like chess, not checkers, but they came to a deal now, but it was just all kind of like, what's going on here? Sorry, tangent.
No, I have YouTube TV as well, and I heard. Again, I was nowhere near TV most of the weekend, so I did catch wind of it, and I was freaking out about ESPN and stuff not being there. I was like, well, a la carte, I'll have to do ESPN Plus, and whatever, I'll figure it out. But thankfully, it's back on.
I did find out though that I was complaining about this, and then my wife was like, well, we already have Disney Plus, so that you get ESPN with that too. And I'm like, wait, what? So I'm double.
That's true.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm double paying for Disney now. And so then I was like, oh, maybe can break.
Well, it's different. On YouTube, you buy the sports package. Like I get, Big Ten, SEC, ESPN, like all those channels.
Only a fool would pay for Big Ten.
Well, it comes in the sports package, and shut up. But yes, Disney Plus, obviously my daughter, we have to have that. And then,
it's the cord cutting. We all got hoodwinked. We're all paying more money.
We are paying way more money for the a la carte stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, Randall. Continue on with the show.
So it was sports related.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. So back to our subject of tonight's show. I got so distracted that I was actually getting into your conversation. I've been out this week looking at options for TV, and I'll talk to y'all later outside of that. Next subject, real fast to get to, is another COVID-related subject. But let me go ahead and say, Penny Hardaway, you're a piece of trash. But all right, next little subject. Tennessee, Memphis. The Vols are in the arena to play. Memphis cancels the game. From what I understand, been multiple stories, but what I think is the truth, maybe, was 2 cases of COVID among the Memphis basketball team. Robbie, was this a case of Memphis not wanting to play Tennessee, or is there something we don't know as general public?
All right. So a little bit of backdrop.
Get my Red Bull.
A little bit of backdrop. So I bought my family and my wife's family all tickets to this game for Christmas. 15 of us going up to the arena, and it gets canceled as we're walking up there. So this was the ultimate thought that counts Christmas present. So this was a debacle of management, and this is Penny Hardaway being in over his head. Well, one, they played in Madison Square Garden, I think a week before or a week and a half before. They didn't have the vaccination requirement, so they lied to the New York officials about it, which violates their law, which puts all of their players in jeopardy. And then to not have contact, they all went to allegedly, I mean, this is the reporting, is they went to a booster event the night before, which isn't a big deal. Players do all the time, but they're not they were not vaccinated, which heightens the protocol. And so my understanding is one player tested positive, or one player woke up sick for Memphis's team, woke up sick. His roommate tested positive, and because their vaccine percentage wasn't high enough, they couldn't field a team. And so that's just one, not knowing your team, not knowing what's going on. It's just a lack of leadership. And then to tell Tennessee when they're loading on the bus, don't have players to play, Rick Barnes said, well, one, we're not scheduling teams like that again that are unvaccinated because it's dangerous to our players, and we're trying to win a conference. We're trying to go to the tournament. And also, Tennessee, which this is unfathomable to me, but Tennessee spent $30,000 of their allotted yearly budget to go to that Nashville game. They got canceled. I don't know how Memphis isn't having to forfeit this game. This was their fault. If this is a conference game, they have to forfeit. This is their fault. They didn't have protocols on. They should have to forfeit. And yeah, I mean, I'm a Tennessee basketball fan. My parents went to Memphis. I love that rivalry, but I don't know how with Penny and Barnes it continues, because this is strike 3 for Penny. They don't deserve to play Tennessee.
I'm gonna play a little clip here provided for the University of Tennessee, and yes, it's legal for us to do this now.
No point forward about do you play the game or not. We were there to play the game, okay? And but with that said, right now SEC play is way too important for us going forward. Plus, we have the number 1 net ranking team coming in here in 2 days, but we're not going to risk scheduling a team we know that has many unvaccinated players. I mean, that would be irresponsible on our part. I mean, it could happen again. Burned approximately $30,000 from our budget. But to me, obviously, we don't want to do that. But the worst part of that is our fans. And I feel, as bad as I feel for our players, I feel worse for our fans. We've got, of our players, at 15 are all there. We have 1 walk-on not vaccinated, one scholarship player being redshirted, not. And so with that said, we're going to play because we know in the SEC, you either play or you forfeit. And I can only tell you this: if we would have had 4 guys that were not able to play in that situation, if we've got 7 guys, we would get somebody out of the student body. We had to, because I think it's the right thing to do for fans. I think it's the right thing to do, keeping it where it was. And oh no, oh my. Let's hope that's water. Are we sure we know who's in? You putting a blue can there.
Well, the last part got a little out of hand. I should have trimmed that, but Rick Barnes is pretty, I would say, intense about his replies to that, Robbie.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, he comes out looking like the good guy, and like, hey, they stuck around scrimmage for the fans that made it. I won't go as far as saying Penny ducked the game, but there was no strong desire to make it work either.
Shane, to me, this feels like Ohio State agrees to play Cincinnati in a series, and understanding if this series goes well, they're going to get a football game, a home football game with the Buckeyes. But it seems like Penny Hardaway has went every way possible to kind of sabotage this series. You, as an Ohio State fan, if your team had made these efforts to play a Cincinnati or anybody in state like that, how would you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, I would feel just like you guys. It's only 2 players testing positive. There was some reading that I've done earlier that suggested possible injury to another player, one of their star players that wasn't able to play. I don't know what kind of truth is.
Reckless speculation. There was also reckless Randall Cunningham's reckless speculation that Memphis had been out the night before and had several people hung over and didn't want to play for that reason. That wasn't me report it. It was several people reported it on Twitter.
Grant Ramey said he heard it from the Memphis sidelines.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you follow the protocol, there's only 2 people that are sick and test positive, and you've got plenty of people on the team to fit a starting 5 or have 7 players, whatever. I don't get why they didn't play the game. I think, like Robbie said, I don't know if it's necessarily ducking it from Penny. I don't want to take anything away from Penny professionally and what he's done in his career, but coming into coaching, I think he thought he could get in trying to teach these kids without managing the business side of it and what goes on, especially during a pandemic, which everyone's trying to feel their way through at this point. Like, no one knows, there's no playbook through this. So you're going to have people that want to get vaccinated, people that don't want to get vaccinated. So you got to work around that. But, what do you say, beginning of the season, like, oh yeah, I think 90% of our players are vaccinated or something, which was obviously completely wrong. And he addressed that and said he never revisited and maybe misspoke. But again, like Robbie said, that's bad management on your side. Like, why don't you find these things out so you can plan and, plan accordingly, not force it on anybody, but make arrangements to say, okay, what's plan B if this does happen and we only have this many players that are shortened protocol versus lengthy or what? I don't know if what the college is, but you've got to have a plan B on that, and you've got to know your team.
Well, it's Barnes said after the game, like 15 of 17 of the UT players are vaccinated, so he knows that.
Right.
And so those players are treated differently because the protocol calls for that. If you don't know, then that's how you end up in a situation where, like, oh, we don't know if we can play or not because we don't know who's vaccinated. Well, I mean, how can you not know? And then, in the big picture, this game hurts Memphis way more than it hurts UT. Memphis needs this game.
This was the biggest game of their year.
UT's going to the tournament. Memphis is right now. They are not. They needed this win. Now they're gonna have to win the whatever AAC or whatever they're in. They're gonna have to win that tournament now to get into the tournament. Because they don't have any big games. So this was huge for Memphis, and Penny just blundered it.
I agree. I think politically, and I make this statement as a member of the Alumni Association, which I'm sure you are too, Robbie, a member of the Ball Fund, which I'm sure you are too, as a donor to the University of Tennessee, I want us to play Memphis in basketball. But it became a situation where Memphis values that series. If Tennessee wants to play Memphis in basketball, Tennessee is almost forced to play Memphis in football. If it's going to come to that, if it's going to become that political in nature, see ya, Memphis. We can find somebody else. To me, it's just as emotional and just as big to me. If we don't play Memphis, let's restart the Georgia Tech game. Let's play home and home with Georgia Tech every year. That's a closer school. To me, it's just as big a rivalry. We want that game. That brings Atlanta and Knoxville together. It seems like Memphis is shooting herself in the foot.
I'm with you on the Georgia Tech game. The game changer, though, is Nashville. Nashville is blown up. Now Tennessee just needs a presence in Nashville. And that's what this game was about. It's not about Memphis. Hey, if we can grab a Kenny Chandler from Memphis, that's great. You grab a player or two every couple of years. Nashville now is like, that's where the growth is. And so Tennessee getting to Nashville, that's huge. So if we play Belmont, if we play, Georgia Tech or whoever in Nashville and just keep that recruiting base and then occasionally reach over to Memphis, we're good.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'd much rather have a Memphis home and home basketball schedule that we play in Nashville and a Georgia Tech football game occasionally. But it just makes no sense to me, the pressure that Memphis is putting on it. Especially just crazy circumstances. I mean, Rick Barnes is notorious, one of the good guys in sports. And him and Penny Hardaway obviously do not get along.
Well, and I love, that's one of my favorite rivalries, Tennessee Memphis in basketball. I love that game. But Penny's just he's being a child in a grown person's sport.
Well, this week, shouldn't show, we are going to do some year in review stuff. This comes from Ben Ingram, courtesy of the Atlanta Braves Radio Network. And I'm sure we'll be talking about this somewhere tonight. But to me, how can you talk about the year in review?
0-2 on the lane. Chopper out to Dansby. Dansby throws to first base. Is this happening? It is. The Atlanta Braves are world champions. The Atlanta Braves have won the 2021 World Series in 6 games over the Houston Astros. Pure euphoria down on the field as they're bouncing all over the infield. And in the booth, set of the tomahawk.
Jane, locally with us, that's got to be one of the stories of the year. We'll each have our own, and I'll talk about the Braves later. But this year has been a good year for mid-market sports. Now let's start there. It seems like 2021, how can you have any story with it? It's the year after the COVID, but it also seems like the year where you could be in the middle of it. The year after the COVID, empty stadiums. Let me put it that way. The year of the mid-market team, the Bucks, the Braves. A lot of teams win championships. They're not the normal ones. Start there, Robbie or Brandon. What did you think about the year in review?
Yeah, so a lot of surprises. The Bucks wasn't so much a surprise. I knew they would get there, but that run that the Braves went on, I cannot talk about that enough. And that's the most I watched. Well, most I've watched the Braves play. Let's put it that way, in quite some time. And I don't watch a whole lot of baseball. I'm a quasi Cubs fan, but I start watching, towards the end and start getting into the pennant race and, all that stuff. Just there's too many games. I can't watch Tuesday at 1:00. Most people are working. So, but no,
people that work on 1:00 on Tuesdays.
Oh, don't start. You're in PCB sitting on a beach. So it was epic, and I know we talked about that, or on an earlier show this year, right after it happened. But the Soler bomb, that was just forever a statement and an image in my head that won them that World Series in Game 6.
Robbie, we'll start with you. As far as, and we know where I'm going to head. That's going to be my story of the year. I got a couple of honorable mentions. What is your story of the year in sports? It almost was for me. What's stadiums being filled back up? So,
yeah, it's weird to once even when we text this and said, hey, we're gonna talk about this, it was weird to even think about, because it's been such a weird year for every industry, everybody. The Braves, yes, that was magical. But for me, I think it was Giannis Antetokounmpo. I butcher his name every time, but the Greek Freak really taking over basketball, and the Milwaukee Bucks winning the championship, I thought, and coinciding with Atlanta winning the World Series. Yeah, I think it was just the year of the, not necessarily underdogs, but just the people that don't win much and just winning. I thought, I think that was kind of the story of the year, and getting back into stadiums. And I know I've enjoyed going to games again. And so, yeah, I guess it was just back to sports, really.
that there is a story there. One thing when I was thinking about this, I almost thought that would be your story. And we talked about it during the year. Come September, now I had covered high school football all last fall, but that was in even 4,000 or 5,000 people max. The first time I went to Neyland Stadium with 85,000, 90,000 people, it was tough on me. Was it tough on you to re-enter the sporting world?
Well, you guys were privy to all my text messages and my thoughts, and I didn't think there should have been any sports in 2020, 2021. I'm glad I was wrong, because sports were a unifier and a much after 9/11, just something to give us hope and just rally behind. And so I'm glad I was wrong. But it's at the full stadiums, and I'm going to the UT Arizona game tomorrow, which is I think it's gonna be a sellout. Yeah, I mean, I do my best. I'll wear the mask in the concourse, and then I'll drink my beer in my seat. But I mean, I'm glad to be back as much as we can, and I've done what I can as much as I can. Like, hey, like, I don't know what else I can do, but I'm glad. Yeah, I mean, I think it's happy to be back.
All right, Brendan. But Robbie, do you have any honorable mention, something that you missed, or something you want to?
Well, just Saturday or Sunday. I'm not the biggest Tiger fan. I'm not a Tiger hater by any means. But seeing him with Charlie, I don't know how that can't make you smile. Like, that was fantastic watching them play golf together. And Charlie's gonna be a stud.
Yeah, so is John Daly's kid.
Yeah.
No, that actually brings me to my story of the year, which I was going to take it that direction because I, as you know, am an avid golfer. So 9 months ago, Tiger gets in that crash, in that accident, and almost loses his leg. There was an interview where amputation was on the table at one point. So just the will to work and the work ethic that guy has to get back, and you just hear from some of his fellow competitors and friends and people that played with him, to watch him hit the ball and to see how close he is to competition again after 9 months of potentially getting amputated is pretty incredible. And I think his son in that aspect was a lot of motivation as well. I think he really, really wanted to play that. And if you look, he rode in the cart every single hole until number 18 on Sunday, when they still had somewhat of a shot. They had to eagle that to have their best shot to win it. But he tells his caddy to take the cart, and he walks up 18 with his son, making that walk. I don't know. As a golf fan, as a Tiger fan, I mean, he's one of the transcending athletes of our lifetime, and to watch him, his ups and downs, and to come back, and it's one of the great stories. Especially to me, it touches me personally because I'm. I love college, or like Robbie loves college basketball. I love golf, so no, it was fun to watch. And, they set quite a record on Sunday, 11 birdies straight, coming into, I think they lost by 2 to Daly team, but that's going to be a fun match. Those two, sons.
The whole thing was cool. Like, just all the
It is
for kids. Like,
is that your first time ever watching that event?
I've watched some of Charlie and Tiger play, I guess, pre-rec. But yeah, this was the first time I've sat down and watched the whole day.
Yeah. Well, Charlie is tremendously improved from last year. Like, he played well last year, but this kid, I mean, he's got every opportunity in the world and the DNA to be awesome. So he was fun to watch.
You've kind of watched John Daly's kid grow up in that event. That's maybe outside of the Masters, that's my favorite event on the tour.
It's so awesome. Yeah, I love John Daly's kid too.
Like, when Charles Barkley plays golf.
Yeah,
that's also fun.
Yeah.
No, but quick honorable mention was Phil Mickelson winning the PGA at 50, oldest one to do it. Love Phil. He's a people's champ. Love that guy. So that was it.
So I want to ask you a question about your story, and Robbie, I'd like to get your comments too. As great as Tiger has been, and I'm someone who's made no small bones about my own addiction issues. I feel like through Charlie, Tiger finally gets to show some grace and some adult characteristics that I've been waiting on Tiger to show. And I really do think, in my head, seeing Tiger with his son changed my opinion of Tiger a little bit. And it also gave me a different perspective, as you said, of Tiger. Can Tiger now rebuild who he is through this event, through his son, through his family, and some real public black eyes? Robbie, what do you think about Tiger's future? Maybe not even on the golf course, but in life and his legacy.
Yeah, the short answer is yes. Tiger. Well, I think but that's a very complex question, Randall. That's an excellent question that you just asked, but it's very complex. So as Tiger is a competitor, I think everyone loves him for how ruthless, how just he was there to win. His business was not to make friends. It was not to anything else besides win. Very much Michael Jordan, very much Kobe Bryant. Just I'm here to win. As he's gotten older, there's been scandals, but you have to understand, Tiger lived in the social media world. Kobe Bryant did at some point. Michael Jordan did not. All of them, though, those competitive spirits, they all had skeletons in those closets. It's just the amount of information getting out in the era that they lived. And so those three guys to me are the same. Like, they're just killer instincts. But yes, absolutely. The same way Kobe Bryant was able to do as the girl dad. Tiger's going to do this again. And I hope he can play again on the PGA Tour. I don't know if he can, but I hope so. But I think his image is kind of already remade in this kind of father figure image, and just that he's more likable. He with the match with Phil, all these things that he's doing now is in his older age. It's less killer instinct because the ability isn't there to kill every time. He still has it at moments, but not all the time. And I think that's kind of what you're seeing now. Is it's more of a human, almost like Kobe was at the end of his career too. Like, hey, he went for 60 in his last game, the same way Tiger won the Masters. They can still do it if the timing is right, but not every single opportunity.
Oh,
Well
James,
said.
anything to
Yeah.
follow up to that?
No, I was going to say, I think after what has happened as of late with Tiger, the scandal, coming back to, climb that mountain one more time, win another PGA or sorry, losing train of thought here. The Masters. Sorry. Yeah. And then getting in an accident and the thought of considering that I can't play play golf again. Like, think about Michael Jordan saying I can't play basketball again. Like, if he would have lost or damage to his right shooting shoulder or something, like, I can't pick up a basketball again. Like, so that goes through your head, and that's all you've trained for and done your entire life. I mean, he was talking about in an interview that he was laying in his bed. He couldn't get up and walk. He couldn't do anything, but he was still like training with his hands. He was like doing things with his hands, like hand-eye coordination. Like, I mean, who does that? You just, you barely made it out alive. And this guy's, throwing ball, like doing hand training and hand-eye coordination. I mean, it just takes a different mentality. And like Robbie said, there's only a few people in our lifetime we've seen do that. And, definitely Kobe and Jordan for sure.
And my mind goes back to Ben Hogan, who was in his prime, that suffered through a car wreck similar and came back.
You're so old.
So I wasn't around for Ben Hogan, I'm going to give y'all one more thing, though, before we get off this subject. And I'm going to say in 22 or 23, we're going to be sitting here talking about one of the stories of the year is going to be Josh Heupel bringing a top 10 program that was historically probably sixth or seventh best program in college football back to relevance. I looked ahead and I read a lot this weekend about what happened in Knoxville over the last year. I wasn't the biggest Josh Heupel guy when they were hired. But I think looking back now, one of the stories of the year is that Josh Heupel took a football team that had 2 or 3 win talent and won 7. I think it was summed up, and the reason that got me thinking about this was when Hayden Hooker was walking off the field, Heupel looked at him, this come from a very good source, and said, "What are you going to do?" Very calm. Hayden Hooker looked at him and said, "I'm coming back, coach." Heupel's reply to him was, "Let's get to Atlanta." That program has an ear of Josh Heupel's quiet confidence all of a sudden. And I really believe, as a Tennessee graduate, as a Tennessee alumni, in 22 or 23, we'll be talking about how Josh Heupel brought Tennessee football back to relevance. So, kind of a preview of maybe what we'll be talking about a couple years down the road. But I'm excited for Tennessee's future. Robbie?
I think that Vols fans need to take a page out of A&M fans' playbook. Look, you got the guy, but it's tough to win in this league. And so be patient. Don't panic. Let him build the same way Jimbo is building at A&M. Hey, they're paying him a whole heck of a lot of money. But they just signed the number 1 to 2, depending on what site you look at, recruiting class. They just beat Alabama. They're building. I've said it for years. One day it's going to be true. Saban's not going to be there forever. He's going to retire. Because Kirby is beatable. I'm not sure Saban's beatable in the long term, but Kirby is. And so Vols fans, be patient, appreciate what you've got, and let's be supportive. Let's pack Neyland. Let's show recruits what this is about. And I do think he can build something very promising in Knoxville.
So we'll wait till September, but next September I'm going to get you all fired up and saying Tennessee's a 10-win football team. And I believe Tennessee's a 9 or 10-win football team next year when you break down the schedule. But I'll wait till then to get, because I enjoyed this year. So when I say 10 wins next year, I'll have everybody fired up again. All right, let's go along to the bad. There's so much bad that happened in sports. I've got a couple of things. One's so local, I don't think it would be relevant, but I hate it, and I'm going to talk about it. But, Robbie, was there one thing that just jumped out of your head? This year, this is what was bad with sports, or this story is the worst thing that happened in sports?
I should have prepared for it. You know what?
I'll come back to you.
Okay, yeah, Brandon.
James, you look prepared. I'll come to you.
What was the question?
Worst thing in sports this year besides your fantasy team?
Oh, thank you, Randall.
You haven't seen my beat all year.
Well, I didn't beat many.
I didn't either.
So I've got I did struggle with this one. Worst thing. I mean, probably the worst thing in the NFL was just the Raiders' whole first half of the season. Like what happened to their team?
That's a good one.
starting with, Gruden and, the emails and all that, by the way, I think was handled absolutely terribly. Now, I'm not defending him by any means. What he said, what it was on emails is valid. But there is no way you can tell me that out of 396,000 emails, that there wasn't another slip up between, him and somebody else, or there's got to be other people involved. And it just felt more like a witch hunt on Gruden than anything. I don't know what the bad blood was.
Well,
but
it's like Brandon. It's a if I email you inappropriate things 30 times in a row, you're eventually going to say, "Stop sending these things." Like the receiver is like they're complicit in it too, right?
Exactly. Coming from a lawyer's point of view here, thank you. I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's no way there's not implications on other people, and he's the only one that gets this. So, anyway, between that and then obviously the tragedy with Henry Ruggs, again, another huge distraction for this organization, who is still in the hunt, by the way. I commend them for the adversity they faced and are still even in the wild card at this point. But yeah, Ruggs, I mean, just so unavoidable. Could have been avoided for sure and saved a girl's life. So that's a sad one. And then I'm going to go to a couple more honorable mentions. One is LeBron James in Space Jam: A New Legacy. That has got to be the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life.
Have you seen Jungle Cruise? Jungle Cruise is the worst movie.
No, that is way better than Space Jam.
Well, I've not seen Space Jam 2. I saw Jungle Cruise with my in-laws this weekend.
Oh, it's awful. That's Space Jam: A New Legacy with LeBron, 10 times worse.
You watch Jungle Cruise, I'll watch Space Jam 2, and we'll reconvene.
I've already watched it with my daughter. I've seen Jungle. I watch all these. I got Disney Plus. I watch all these.
It's impossible to be worse than Jungle Cruise.
Oh, it is. Look. Do you think LeBron can act other than flop on the floor? No.
I don't even know what Jungle Cruise was about. Still, I don't even know.
He's a mythical creature. Don't worry about it. Anyway, and then the worst bad sports thing that happened all year was Ohio State losing to the team up north and ruining our playoff hopes. We did lose to a better team. Unfortunately, pains me to say it. FU Michigan.
I'll give Robbie a minute more. I've got two. One of them I'll never bring up on this show again, but the fact that the Toronto Argonauts got beat in the Canadian Football League playoffs the next night after the South Pittsburgh Pirates won a state championship, after a coach run off another great coach to get a head coaching job that was his dream job, for the kids to pull together, win a state title, him to take off the Canadian Football League. That was just a terrible, terrible lesson those kids were taught. But to me, the worst story that I've seen repeated over and over this year, and I know it's an era of social media. Look, I keep dragging out my demons, and I got a lot of them, but I was in a brawl at a Florida football game in 1997, which ended up in jail, dismissed, sent home. I've been in a fight at a Georgia football game. Me ended up in jail. But it has become a social media standard to film all these violent sports acts, fans fighting. I can come up with one that just released today. I saw one with the two Eagles fans just basically intimidating some kids. A brawl at a Raiders game, a brawl at a Chiefs game, a scary brawl at a Chiefs game where a guy is knocked so unconscious that this dude is stiff board in the stadium. A gentleman, the lawsuit was this year. was beat so bad at a Giants-Dodgers game that his life was basically, he was made a handicap. I've seen countless fights at college football games, but the fact that fan-on-fan violence is growing is very, very disturbing to me. I've probably been to 200 plus college football games, 50 to 100 pro football games. If you cannot go to a game without fighting with the opposing fans and violently attacking them, they're going to be there. I remember going to Nashville while Peyton was with the Colts, and I would go with my Peyton jersey on. And, it was a great experience. The Nashville folks accepted Peyton kind of as their own too. They hated the Colts, but they wanted to beat them so bad. I went to St. Louis once to watch the Colts play there. Fought my way into the stadium, fought my way out of the stadium. I mean, as an opposing fan, you should be able to attend a sporting event without being spit on, punched, threatened. If you're one of those guys that are keeping people outside the stadium and threaten them, you're not doing your team any favor. You're not doing anybody any favor. And these people that are videoing them and now putting them all over YouTube, man, you're giving the NFL black eyes. Y'all behave. The players would tell you to behave. The players don't fight after the game. Most of them have dinner after the game and exchange jerseys. I don't know why fans take it so personal. If you think you're better than someone else because your football team is better, then you're the problem. So, ugly to me, stop these stadium fights. Stop posting them all over the place. Come on, be adults. Y'all didn't expect that rant out of me, did you?
And I'll add on to that. If your life is so insignificant that you get so upset that you want to physically hurt somebody over a sport you are not playing, then get a life.
You almost did it.
Get a life. Then get a life. Okay. So, my biggest disappointment this year, it's going to be the person that I think's the second best college football coach I've ever seen. Urban.
Good one.
I didn't think it was going to work. I thought it was going to be maybe it will, maybe it won't in Jacksonville. I did not see it going down in flames like this. I think he's a great football mind. He's won every single level he's been at, and he had a quarterback. And I think if you give him time, he would have won. But just the arrogance and it was, I don't know, maybe I haven't followed him closely enough. I've just been amazed by his winning and haven't followed him closely enough to see the insides of the arrogance that goes along with it. To not see this coming, but I didn't see it coming. I thought with Trevor Lawrence, I thought he would make it a few years and win some. I did not see a 13 games and done season from Urban.
That is one that I did not even think of, but that's a very good one. Shane, as an Ohio State fan, Urban was your all's guy, and he can win. And Robbie, at worst, Urban is the third best coach in college football history, at worst.
Yeah.
Shane, you got any comments on that one?
So I think he would still be there if it wasn't for the distractions and the arrogance that he carries. But, his entire career. I mean, you guys just said he's at worst the third best college football coach ever. And so now you're hearing all these stories come out. He kicked the kicker, and he's got this military mindset. I mean, he's talking to grown men that make more than he does, and he's trying to teach them and tell them, believe in my system. Being a new guy there, it's different when you already sat in that college kid or high school kid's living room with their parents, and you become somewhat of a father figure / coach at that point, and then you can have somewhat of a cracked whip and discipline and that sort. When you get to the NFL, absolutely not. It's a different mentality. He just wasn't set for that, and I think he was in over his head as far as his strategy and coaching and mindset, and I think that was evident when he was it Cincinnati that he lost and did not fly back with the team, and that's when that whole fiasco happened. He needed to feel some kind of better about himself. Like he needed to go back into where he's a god in the state or whatever, and have everyone ooh and ah all over him and respect him. And he's just got such an egotistical mentality. And it works when, like I said, and he was a great recruiter. When you go sit in a kid's living room and they believe in you, then it's easier when you're in that state. But NFL, that transition, I mean, these guys have been here for years. They're veterans. Come on, like you can't do that. You got to have a different mentality.
Does he get another job? And if so, where?
In 2 years, ask me again.
I think so.
He's going back to Fox Noon Sports.
I think the guys in the Atlantic or Athletic, maybe the Athletic, wrote it. Nebraska is a very interesting landing spot. Kind of off the radar, but powerhouse or tradition.
Traditions there.
Could he win the Big Ten West? And just got to win one game a year.
I don't see that.
Well, guys, we're running out of time. We want to get through. We lost so many great sportsmen. I expect we'll hear the name of maybe Bobby Bowden coming up and some of the guys that we lost in 2021. But this next clip appears courtesy of MLB Baseball. The legendary Milo Hamilton. This will be mine when we get to it. Who we lost in 2021, and how can we forget this pass?
Here's the pitch by Downing. Swinging. There's a drive into left center field. That ball is going to be out of here. It's gone. It's 7:15. There's a new home run champion of all time, and it's Henry Aaron. The fireworks are going. Henry Aaron is coming around third. His teammates are at home plate. And listen to this crowd.
Guys, I don't know. That was my childhood hero more than anybody, I think, growing up. I still consider his 755 the number. We lost Hank this year. And for me, it was very, very tough. It was ironic the Braves, a guy who really helped build the future of the Braves after baseball. He became a front office member of the Braves, and he's a guy that everybody assumed, we'll give Hank a job. But Hank worked extensively in the minor league system of the Braves for over 3 decades. And when you talk to the people around Atlanta, a lot of the credit for the Braves franchise success, even after his playing days, go to Hank Aaron. The other thing I'd mention about Hank Aaron, I talked to you guys, I sent it on a text, is if I ever have the resources of RiverCity-Media become a major company or whatever happens, I would so invest in a movie based on Hank Aaron's story, and I've read several books that he's wrote. He originally left Indianapolis as a member of the Indianapolis Clowns in the early 50s, late 40s. Jackie Robinson had just integrated baseball. The Clowns were very similar to the Globetrotters. They were black players that couldn't find places to play. So the Clowns would go around and play in the Negro leagues, but also would pay anybody anytime. So Hank leaves there as a cross-handed hitting shortstop. He batted left hand over right hand, goes to the Milwaukee Braves minor league system, and goes to the Sally League and integrates the Sally League, which is Macon, Birmingham, Knoxville. And he talks about Knoxville being one of the worst places they had to go to play. It was just continuous abuse. And then as he approached 715, the legendary threats that he got, thousands, hundreds of them, if he broke Babe Ruth's record. Hank Aaron endured more in a lifetime than we know as a general public. So I think it's ironic the Braves win the World Series. I was 10 the last time Hank Aaron hit a baseball. But I did get to see him at a Braves game a couple of times, throw out a first pitch, wave at the crowd. It's just Hank Aaron was bigger in life. And that's the way I'll always remember him, and that's the way baseball should remember him. And it's sad this year, the year the Braves win the World Series, we lose Hank Aaron. So, Robbie, I know you grew up a Florida State fan, so I assume you're going to talk a little bit about Bobby Bowden at some point.
Yeah, I'll talk about Bobby Bowden. A great man that molded so many black kids into NFL players, into professionals, into business people outside of the NFL. But since we're still in this pandemic, I paused again. I just kind of still, whenever I think about sports right now, and sadness, I still go back to Kobe Bryant. That was just a life too young that was taken from
Absolutely
everyone. And it's just like he had, the daughters and so much to give, and a girl dad and so much to give. I think that's the one that's really hit me the hardest personally. I saw Kobe play 3 or 4 times in various situations, but it was just how it happened, and so much was ahead of him and those girls, and it just always hit me really hard.
I have in my closet, I have a purple and gold Lakers shirt that says "Girls Dad." Everybody who knows me knows that I like Chain. I have a little girl, and I'm very, very proud of her. And I always, that girl's dad was a special saying to me. So
for sure, I've got a shirt that says "Girls Dad" as well from Homage. So so I misunderstood this topic, I guess. I was digging into Hank Aaron on that. I thought after reading the text, that's what we were talking about, Hank Aaron. So I
could have messed it up. Sorry.
No, you're good. No, I agree though with Robbie a little bit on Kobe is just still always stuck, the whole girl dad thing. But Hank, losing him, I think it came for full circle though. It is kind of a homage to him. It was kind of cool to see, the Braves to win the World Series and in the same year, somewhat of a higher power tribute. So I don't know. It's been a weird last 2 years. So take good things when you can, for sure.
Well, just a side note, while it's against my interest, but it is ironic that MLB moved the All-Star game away from Atlanta and then had to then celebrate the World Championship in Atlanta. Just a nice little, hey, we do our own thing, kind of screw you to the man.
It is ironic that happened, and it's also ironic that there's a couple other names that comes to mind when you talk about Hank Aaron and all those guys that integrated baseball, and for them to pull the All-Star game from Atlanta, one of the most progressive cities in America, I feel like, was almost a slap in Hank Aaron. I don't know. I know what happened is not probably correct, but the city of Atlanta had little to do with that. A couple other names I wanted to mention. Demetrius Thomas, we just lost recently, Brandon. I know I saw Peyton Manning playing some ultimate respect to him this weekend.
Demarius, yeah.
Yeah, Demarius. Tommy Lasorda, Don Sutton. There was one more that I wanted to mention. Oh, a guy I love dearly back in the day, John Chaney at Temple. That look, God, could John Chaney? He was one of my early basketball heroes. I used to stay up at night watching Temple basketball. You guys aren't old enough to remember this, but it was literally ESPN. They could only get so far out, so they would cover UConn all the time. They'd cover Temple, all those teams around the that Eastern Regional. So we'd get Temple basketball, the whole schedule. And John Chaney was one of my, I thought John Chaney was just the greatest guy on earth. So it's kind of ironic we lost him this year too. So it's been a good show, man. I think Robbie went to mix him a drink, so we won't leave him out of the last couple of segments. But Raj, for folks wondering, Raj is out visiting family. It's a holiday spirit time. Brandon, where are you and your family celebrating the holidays?
We are doing Christmas Eve at my dad's house, and then doing Christmas lunch afternoon at her mom's. So
Cool. Staying home?
No, in Tullahoma. Yeah.
Okay.
Both live in Tullahoma, so it's a 15-minute drive. Not bad.
Robbie, what's your family's plans for the holidays?
I am going to the Vols game tomorrow, the Titans game on Thursday, and then so Christmas Eve will be on Friday, and so we're gonna be in Franklin in the morning, then Estill on the evening, and then we're back in Chattanooga on the 25th. So if anyone wants to rob my house, I just gave you the game plan.
Yeah, I know where to go. So every other year, my daughter's with me for Christmas, and this is one of the years. So today we shopped her full self to death. My daughter's showing such interest in music. She's getting a guitar, she's getting a record player, a bunch of old records for Christmas, and we went out to all the old record stores. Great day. So we'll be here. But on Sunday, it's become family tradition in our house that we go watch the Falcons either the Sunday before Christmas or the Sunday after. So on the 26th, we're going to see the Falcons and the Lions. Really looking forward to that.
Hey, why don't you stay the next day and go to the Hawks game with us? We're going to the Bulls-Hawks game on the 27th.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'll talk to you offline about that one. I might have to be solo, but I might be able to do that because I might have some Hawks. I actually may have 2 Hawks tickets right now, so I'll text you later. So, but yeah, I'm doing a lot in Atlanta. I am not going to the Music City Bowl as of now, but anybody looking for Music City Bowl tickets, the prices are going down as we speak. So
Brandon, are you going to the Titans game Thursday?
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Did you say Siri?
Siri was trying to
Brandon?
mushroom.
So I am still on the fence right now. I know a lot of family stuff going on. I'm trying to make it. My wife and daughter are going down to her mom's Thursday, so I've got to get all that situated. But I'm highly probable.
That's when you just start coughing and be like, let me check this out.
I got it.
No.
I probably need to stay home. All right, guys. It's time for Robbie. You promised since the early part of the show. First, we're going to put somebody on upset alert. Then we're going to do bet your nuts. So, Robbie, you were talking early. You want to do bet your nuts first or upset alert? Because
I have to do bet your nuts first because I'm not sure I have an upset you.
well, I'll go first on the upset alert.
Okay.
I will go first, and I'm going to put on upset alert tomorrow night. I'm putting the SEC's Missouri Tigers on upset alert. I hate playing military academies. You can get 6.5 points in Army. I hate it. So I'm going to put Missouri on upset alert versus Army. Brandon Jane, are you going to put anybody on upset alert tonight?
I'm going to go to NFL and to the Thursday night game. Titans are plus 3.5, I think, on 49ers. So upset. I think if AJ Brown's back, we're playing at home. If Robbie and I go, then it's going to change the game in the stands. It's going to be crazy.
The whole mojo
Upset.
will change.
Yep.
All right, Robbie Davis. We stalled long enough. Did we?
All right, hold on. Let me get the upset alert. Let me get to week 16. I'm looking.
Well, I'll throw
Okay, hold on. This is the most. I cannot believe this spread right now. The Lions are getting 6 points versus the Falcons.
The Lions are getting points.
Four.
Oh,
okay. What's it? Well, either way, it says 6 on ESPN. Give me the Lions. The Lions are going to beat the Falcons straight up. I'll take them money line. Upset alert. Lions money line.
Okay, I'll be there. So.
Oh yeah. Put a blue undershirt on.
All right. Advice
All right.
coming.
Are we ready for bet your nuts?
You go first.
Okay. So
is it a NASCAR pick?
I can't wait for NASCAR to start back again.
Okay.
One of the underrated jewels in sports is a sold-out Thompson Bowling Arena when UT is playing. And that's going to happen tomorrow night. And Arizona does not know what's coming for them. Vols are minus 2.5. If you want to get crazy, tease it to 9.5. It's going to be a blowout. Vols are going to win bigly, as they say. Vols huge tomorrow.
9.5.
If you want to get crazy, if you just want free money, 2.5. But if you want extra money, 9.5.
All right, you heard it here, folks. I did have that on my bet your nuts list, but that I'll stay away from it now. Shane?
Every time I bet with Robbie in the Vols, I lose money. Every single time. So, fair warning to fans out there. Stay away from Robbie's bet your nuts.
Unless it's NASCAR.
So, my bet your nuts is going to be, and I hate to do this, Utah plus 6.5 over Ohio State.
Wow.
I think Ohio State wins the game, maybe by a field goal. But we have.
Do we not have a show between now and then? Is this our last show for the year?
No, it's just that's all I could come up with on short notice. It wasn't on the itinerary that we were doing that.
We do this every week.
Well, if you write it down, Randall.
Every week. I
That's
get up
true.
every morning. I go to the bathroom. I know I have to do it.
I know. I'm sorry.
I think Brandon was preparing for me to get suspended for next week. And he was like, okay.
So yeah, that's my. We've got 2 of our star wide receivers out. I think Utah's got a game plan as far as running the ball against us. We're going to struggle a little bit defense. So yeah, maybe this is 2 weeks projection.
You can use it again next week.
Yeah, of course. I'll just write on it.
I would do that. I'm making sure my pick ain't yeah, mine comes off before the let's see.
You guys are trying to make it forever for these people to get rich. I'm giving them instant money tomorrow.
Well, I'm going to go ahead with my one
Horrible.
that's tomorrow then. And I'm going to go ahead and give you one on Wednesday. I have one that I'll give later in the Pitt-Michigan State game. But I'll avoid that for now, and I'll go to let me find the game. I'll go to why am I having trouble finding the game? Friday? No.
There's no games on Friday.
There's why am I having trouble finding this game? Oh, because it's up there. Never mind. Louisville. There it is, December the 28th. I'm staying with an all-military background here. I'm going to lay the 1.5, and I'm going to take Air Force and the over in the First Responders Bowl on December the 28th. I had another one. I was going to take Pitt, but that's not till next week. Give me Air Force laying the 1.5 or taking 1.5 and 55 over in the First Responder Bowl. Also, just go ahead and tease it. I'm picking Pitt next week. I'm going ahead and say it. I'm picking Michigan State next week. Go ahead.
Hey, how much airtime do we get? Can we videotape or can we, broadcast me and Shane while we're watching football next weekend to see
Live
at the Waffle House?
Yeah, absolutely. That would be great TV.
You're going to Waffle House.
No, we got the consolation bracket next weekend. That's who goes to Waffle House.
Whoever loses that.
Yeah, that's who's last.
I like it.
Well, I'm not going to finish last. That's all that matters.
Hey, all right. How much longer we need to talk off here about a couple things. So let's wrap it up.
Final words, and then we'll talk. Robbie Davis, you got final words.
Final words are I love this UT basketball team. And Kennedy Chandler he is everything they've touted him to be. And have I booked my hotel in New Orleans for the Final Four yet? No. But am I close to it? Yes. This is the year, and we will stomp Arizona tomorrow.
So you realize in one show, you predicted Tennessee to go to the Final Four, and I said we're going to win 10 football games next year. This is reckless speculation.
Talk about homers.
Brendan James.
My final word is do not bet on Tennessee basketball whenever Robbie tells you to, because you will lose your money. And I have done it several times. So
There's a
just
track
trust me
record of
on that. There's a track record. And my final word is I would take the Cavaliers over the Celtics tomorrow.
My final words is I'm never wearing this stupid hat on the air again because my head's sweating. So besides that, it was a great show. We miss you, Raj.
Miss you, buddy.
So let me
Family
do this.
dinner.
Let me just say this for
He's
Raj.
part of the show.
SEC sucks. You're overrated, and your football's no good.
He takes some stupid stanzas.
That Lincoln Riley one that's up there with the time I decided to drink turpentine. For Raj Mehta, wherever he's at, Rajesh, we love you, brother. Brendan James, Robbie Davis. Next week, back on Wednesday night with our normal time because Robbie won't be at the Balls, Arizona then. So September.
I will have a pocket full of cash though.
Because you teased it to 9.5.
Yeah.
Good night and God bless.